Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club, episode 38. 38 anime.
Yay, anime!
Wow, 38. I forget which numbers we're on sometimes.
Oh my gosh, we are...
What is math?
It just feels like time flew by.
Who are we?
Well, I'm Marina Sanchez. I'm the host of the show. And joining me as always is Callie Plaguey.
Hi.
And Megan Sullivan.
Hello.
Who's really wonderful. I love you, Megan.
Are you okay?
Whoa.
I just
love
wanted
random
to share the
compliments,
love.
But,
I just
thank
wanted to share the love.
Thank you. You know what I
love you too, Callie.
I love your hair.
We're all friends. Oh, thank
Your hair.
you. It's all short.
She
Cut it
got a
off.
little flavor in her hair.
Yeah, I wanted to be cool like you guys because you have pretty colors. And so I
Oh,
was like,
thank you.
Let me have a cool color
I
hair
love
too.
this love fest. There's so
I'm just
much
being,
love.
I love you too for listening.
Senpai
That's you.
noticed me. Yay.
I'm just full. Yeah, I would say this. I'm just full of love today because Senpai noticed me on Twitter. Like, there's actually a Senpai bot.
Senpai bot noticed me too.
Yeah. So there's a game you guys should play. It's called Senpai Noticed Me or Notice Me Senpai.
It's Neko Atsume with senpai, with boys.
With senpai, but
Yeah.
many senpai.
Lots of
I'm
senpai.
downloading it on my phone as we speak.
We're
Yeah.
sucking Megan into the
In the rabbit hole.
yeah.
So like you just said, it's so dumb. So it's Nekotsume with boys. If you don't know what Nekotsume is, you should download that. It's really great. It's a cat collecting game. All you do is set down food and toys, and then these cats come and they play, and then eventually, if you have them come enough, they'll bring you a gift.
And it's really nice because like it's not like Neopets where they can starve. Like
Yeah.
if you don't feed them, they just don't come to your yard. They're not your cats.
they
and
don't
it's
want-
really relaxing.
They won't be
actually.
your friend.
Yeah.
And then Notice Me Senpai is like that, but with boys. So the premise is that you are enrolling in this school. It's like an elite all-boys school, and you're the first girl permitted. But to pay off your tuition, you have to work at a cafe. And so you design this cafe and
Or on High School Club.
and you attract these boys in with coffee and treats.
Yeah.
And then eventually they'll come enough. Like there's a level of relationship marked by little hearts. So you have 5 levels.
Nerd
and
Senpai, I'm at 2 hearts. Nerd
yeah, I think I got 3 with Nerd Senpai, and he left me a note.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so-
he left you a poem.
Yes, so once you get to a certain level with them, they'll start leaving you things, and there's actually a CG scene that you can earn if you get to like level 4 or 5, depending on the senpai. So Izumi Senpai, who's my nerd senpai, left me a poem. Says, "Roses are bread, violets are bloop, sugar is sweet, so is gloop. This is such a nice place to sip tea and read books. I'll let you borrow some of my favorite titles when I visit again. Izumi Senpai." So kind.
Oh, Izumi Senpai.
Don't
So
write
there's
poetry.
the irrelevant thing, aside from the word senpai being in this game, is that there seem to be some anime references. So Miranda noticed Soma Senpai is the cooking senpai, and he has red hair.
Yeah.
So that's a lot like Food Wars.
His description is, Soma Senpai is an expert chef. He loves trying out new recipes and new types of food. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found
Food Wars,
one.
maybe?
I found Young Senpai. Let me find his description, but he looks just like Honey Senpai from Ouran High School Host Club. So let's see, Senpai list. Yu Senpai, despite his appearance, Yu Senpai is actually a high school senior. Sounds like somebody I know. His love for cute things makes him look even younger. That was weird. The font is really weird. That's the one thing about this game. Like the font is like hard to read sometimes for me. But yeah, he has a little stuffed animal. He's totally Honey Senpai.
Yeah, it's a dumb and cute
All right, I
game.
have to see.
It's available on iOS and Android, I think, right now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
It
It's
looks
free to
like
play.
He's dragging around a dead rabbit.
What
What
is
is
that?
that?
Animal.
It's a
Sure it is.
plushie.
It's a stuffed animal, quote unquote.
Oh
I
jeez,
think.
Megan making it dark.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, anyway,
we gotta make it a little more interesting, you know, for the audience.
like there's like this dark underlying thing to the
Oh,
school where they're
sure.
I
actually.
want emo senpai.
I'm sure he's there
I
somewhere.
want emo senpai. What do I have to do to
Goth senpai.
attract emo senpai?
All
Play
right.
MCR in my cafe.
Your cafe. Yeah, you get to name your cafe.
Very
Anyway, so yeah,
There's
that's
your advertisement for Notice Me Senpai.
Notice Me Senpai. No, it's cool. I thought it was relevant too. So
No, it's absolutely
makes
relevant.
me-
I'm just
you're just not
I'm
down.
speechless.
Just not down.
No, I'm downloading it on my, like if you're watching a video, and you should be, I am downloading it on my phone as we speak. So my
Yeah.
phone just-
So let us know who is your favorite senpai.
Yep.
Yeah. So check it out. It's fun. So back to the reason we're usually here is anime.
Yes.
We are continuing our kind of winter overview. We've been watching a bunch of stuff. Of course, not all of us have watched everything, but we are covering our grounds.
I watched a lot.
I watched quite a bit. The second half hasn't been the second half of shows that I've been watching has not been as good as I think what we watched last week.
Yeah, I think we kind of gravitated towards the ones that interested us the most, and so we discovered some good ones like erased from that. But yeah, so this round I watched a lot of things that I didn't like as much. So yeah.
All right, let's start at the
Shall
top
we?
of the list.
Start at the top of the list. So we have Aokana for Rhythm Across the Blue.
That's a title.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I did not watch this one. What is this one about?
So it's about this girl who transfers into a high school where they have flying shoes that you just put them on.
Oh, this one, the grav shoes.
Yeah, it's the gravity shoes.
I almost watched this one, then I was like, grav shoes?
It's just kind of boring.
The gravity shoes sounds really cool, and then they somehow made it really boring.
Yeah, like she likes flying, and somehow she didn't know these things existed, but she's been to this island before when she's a child, but I mean, obviously these grav shoes are around in the world, but she's completely ignorant. It's just kind of a bland
it's like it's
story.
not a sport, like there's like a sport that you play where
it's
you
like
like
a game.
Yeah, like a game you play with your gravity shoes, and you try to hit different buttons and get past your opponent, and I don't know.
Points.
You get points, and I don't know.
It was just kind of boring.
It was boring, but I also feel old lately. Like so many anime take place in high school, and I'm getting too old to relate to that anymore.
I think
It just
it's
makes me
that,
sad.
and also some of the premises feel a little bit stale. Like there's a lot of tropes and cliches that you keep seeing over and over and over.
The transfer student comes and doesn't understand anything, and it's like,
And
you're
yet-
gonna understand some things, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I get tired of that.
maybe I'll watch another episode, maybe not. I looked at my phone a whole bunch while I was watching it because like this is just not piquing my interest.
All right. Well, now I don't feel bad for reading the description and being like,
I wish
don't
those
know.
shoes were real though. That was the coolest thing.
Oh,
It was
that'd
like
be
somebody
cool.
make those. Those
Yeah.
are awesome. I want flying shoes.
Yeah, so maybe I'll give it like another episode or two and then drop it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
that's meh.
So this one, BBK/BRNK, so it's like Babuki,
Babuki and
Burinki,
Buranki or something.
Buranki, yeah. I forgot what the...
BBK.
Yeah.
BBK.
Oh, it sounds like Baby K.
Aw,
That would be...
that'd be
It's
cute.
It's like BB-8's anime.
I
would
wish.
watch that anime.
So the first episode of this was super interesting. The purpose is interesting. It's about these two young twins. They're like 6 years old, running around this island, and they have kind of magical abilities. And they wander off into this forest. Like the brother is just like, "Don't go there," and the sister, of course, is just like, "I must do this." And just doesn't even care about the rules. She does not care. And they come upon this mech, and it's friendly, and they fall into it. Obviously, they get in trouble with their parents. And then you kind of realize that there are these like dangerous mechs just kind of walking around, but their mom's just like they're asleep. They just sleepwalk, but they're dangerous if they ever wake up. Yeah. And so they notice like their mother's sick, and they want to help her. So then they try to, activate a different mech, like the good mech, to destroy them. But then they end up causing a really bad problem. And it flashes forward to 10 years, so it's not really about them as children so much as them at like 16, and how they are trying to. Well, I guess it's more about. It's kind of weird because like the story changes so much in like just that first episode,
sort of abruptly shifts,
which is fine. Yeah, so you find out that they were living on an island above the Earth. I mean, I guess it's not really an island; it's like an asteroid kind of thing. And their mother was protecting the Earth from these things falling down and destroying the Earth.
Yeah.
And when they activate, their mother has to stay behind and stop them from leaving. And so she sends her kids down and her husband down, and then there's a time shift. And then we cut forward, and we see the young boy, he's now 16, running away from the authorities, and things have happened. Like, there's a bunch of propaganda saying that his mother's a witch and that she caused all these, like, devastating problems. And it's about them and using parts of a mech to fight.
Yeah, so different parts of a
people.
mech. So, like,
Yeah.
each person who can use this mech, like, there's, like, two girls, or there's the one girl who's, like, represents the leg of this mech. There's another that represents the hand. And these parts, when they come together, Voltron style, create this super mech.
Yeah.
that they have to coordinate together to control.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's interesting how they're trying to break out the truth of what actually happened 10 years ago, like whenever their mech, the twins' mech crash landed. And I thought it was really cool. As a twin myself, you don't usually see anything with twins in it. Particularly, they're usually identical, and even then, they're just background characters that echo each other, which is really annoying for me because I'm a fraternal twin, so my twin don't look alike. And it's cool seeing like a brother and sister, but at the very beginning, like after the time shift, like the twin sister's just gone. It's like, nah, you're not here anymore. So that's kind of a bummer seeing like she was such a big focus in the beginning of the episode. She's just not there.
There's foreshadowing though. That picked up the second episode.
It's pretty easy to tell where she is.
Yeah,
right.
It's a very obvious anime, and it's kind of a letdown too because I thought it was a really cool premise.
Yeah,
and the writing
I'm
also
not
gets
sure it's as obvious. I have to disagree a little bit. They're setting it up so helter skelter that at first I was like, I don't like this. I don't know where it's going. But I feel like the obvious answer may not be.
It may not be
as
right,
obvious,
but that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean that's fine, but also I felt like the writing went downhill super fast. Like some of the characters just state their intentions like, you killed my father, I need to kill you. But everyone's just like, well, you did this bad thing to me, so I need to do this. Like, they're just very flat characters, and it feels...
It's like a they tell, not show kind of thing, which is disappointing, especially when you have the power to show because you have a visual element. I mean, like, show not tell is kind of a writer's thing. Like, writers are told that all the time. And so when I see visual media that tells instead of shows, I'm kind of like, wow, you are wasting an entire dimension of your storytelling. So.
Yeah, so
I'm not really interested in what as so much as why. So it's not my favorite, but I'll give it one more episode to see if maybe they flesh things out a little bit and it starts to make a little more sense.
And it's also a different sort of animation because it's all in CG. So it's not typical animation, but well, I don't know if I'll watch another one. I'm just a little bummed with the writing. It's just very flat and I don't want to listen to these characters. So that's that. Another episode, or another thing that I saw, which was pretty cool. I was hoping it would be a little bit better, was Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about the manga. Like, I've heard that it gets really intense, and I'm definitely interested in the show. I'm just a little disappointed with where it kind of ended, at least the first episode.
Did you watch the second episode?
Not yet.
The second episode picks up quite a bit of
I figured it would.
Good, because, I watched the first episode. I thought it was gorgeous. The animation was absolutely beautiful. It had this kind of watercolor feel that I really, really loved. And I liked the whole setup. Basically, it's this group of people that kind of wakes up in this world, and their first memories are just being there. They don't really know why. They use words like cell phone and game without knowing what the words mean. Like, it's like the technology has been erased, but they still have the word for it. And they kind of have to sign up with a guild and pick a class. So there's like a mage and a priest and all this stuff, and a knight. And so I was really excited, being like an RPG sort of fan. I was like, this is really cool.
The strong points, though, for me, especially in the second episode, is really, what would you do if you actually woke up? And one of your assignments is typical role-playing fetch quest of, go kill this goblin or go kill this orc, and then...
But you suck.
Well, here's the thing.
You're like level 0.
Yeah, not only can like 5 people not kill this one thing, but it takes on this element of, but this is a living creature that doesn't want to die.
I like that a lot, too.
It's just as scared as you are. So there's 2 episodes of going after this thing and seeing it almost from this other point of view of, can you really murder this creature that isn't doing anything?
So just because it's not human doesn't mean it's not living. And like, there's a really good scene where one of the girls is spying on the goblins from across the river. Yeah. And she's like, she just starts screaming. They're like, why are you screaming? You're in away position. They're like, because it's eating better food than us.
Yeah, she's like, their dinner's better than my dinner.
Yeah, it's just kind of like weird humanizing thing.
Yeah, and I like that a lot because you don't often see that in the RPG side of things, because this reminded me of an RPG a lot in a good way. And you don't see, it's basically like, harvest monster, horns or whatever and sell them, and then you just progress. And this was kind of like, we got to see a downtime moment. It's kind of like, it's cool to see not a battle moment with the goblins, just like them sitting around a fire. And these kids just struggling so much. They're just terrible. And they kind of have this rival group that is already really advanced because they're just kind of going for it, and they're like, the rival group already did this thing and this thing, and we haven't even killed a goblin.
Yeah, so they're poor because they haven't technically completed quests, and they're running out of food, and so it's kind of this weird world where it's like, can you be empathetic and still like achieve your goals?
Yeah, because what does it take to kill something and then take a piece of its body? It sounds so simple in a game, but it's really grim and kind of dark in reality. And I like that approach of, no, really, what would happen if you woke up in an RPG? Could you do the things required of you?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch the second episode. I did think the first episode didn't pick up as quickly as I wanted it to. So
I thought it went pretty well because it showed them going through their guilds and training and really it went through that pretty fast. I thought the ending was just a little annoying because of how they treat their lady characters.
I was about to mention that.
That's an issue. And it goes on in the second episode. Plus, to warn you, the second episode has this not music video thing, but there's I don't know if they ran out of money in the middle of this episode, but there's this soundtrack that plays and people walking around and talking around the town, just doing basic stuff, and there's no dialogue. And I'm like, I don't understand why this happened. I feel like they ran out of money in the second episode.
Right.
So it's still a good episode, but that really detracts from it.
So overall, I like it. It's just they do a gag where they poke fun at girls' boobs. There's two girls.
The boob size. It really bothered me, that moment. I immediately hated that character. And I wasn't sure if I was supposed to hate that character after, if that whole gag was set up to make me hate the character. Because sometimes they do that.
Just being an inconsiderate jerk. And this is who
he's supposed to be an inconsiderate jerk, so that's why he's doing these things. But it was kind of played off in a gross way. The girls are sort of cuddling and all the guys are yeah, can't wait to watch more of this.
And then that's where it ends. It's
the guy's name. Are we talking about the redheaded character?
Yeah, the redhead.
Yeah, the Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight is also an issue in episode 2. I won't give away what, but
So
why is there a Dark Knight?
This is one. This is the first one from this round, at least, that I would be check it out. It's really pretty. There's some cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of potential. I definitely like the mystery of how they're there and what becomes of that. I mean, we've seen a lot of shows that, hey, you're transported to this video game world or whatever, but this one takes it less of a video game approach and more of just you've been transported to a fancy world.
Right.
Here's your classes. Good luck.
It's cool. It's cool.
I do like it.
It's rather than just this is very much a game. This one is more it takes these sort of RPG tropes and doesn't really do it heavy-handedly. Yeah. So I really liked that.
All right. Cool.
Okay, now for the German one. I don't.
Oh wait, no, you skipped one.
Never mind.
The one that I hated so much.
I was not too much.
This one's called "Please Tell Me, Galko-chan." I read the description for this show, which is basically these 3 girls who represent different kinds of girls. So one's a fashion trendy girl, one's the Ojo-chan, a very a ladylike one, and then one's the otaku one. Her name's Otako or something like that. So their names are all punny based on their personalities. And it's they they're 3 friends and they hang out and they talk about their quote unquote girl problems. And I was like, cool, interesting. And then I watched it and I was like, no, not cool.
So I'm wondering about the gender of the author because the name is Kenya Suzuki.
So I looked it up. Kenya is typically a boy's name.
Okay.
So I don't want to assume because you really can't assume someone's gender from their name.
I looked for so long to find something.
I did too. I did a lot of research.
Because I think that's important in this case because of how they take on certain issues.
Yeah.
And some of the gags were about tampons and about pads. I was like, oh, I can relate to that. Some of them were funny. I was like, oh, I get this. But then some of them were just really gross and condescending.
I thought it was mostly gross and condescending. So it's in all likelihood the manga creator is male, but you can't assume someone's gender based on their name. So I don't know for sure. Regardless, though, even if it was a woman doing it, I still didn't like it.
I mean,
I don't think that was too it is important for the context on
more
how
curious.
offensive is this.
How did they come about these certain stories?
Right,
because it's mostly told in just little jokes and a few
little vignettes. There's one about do bigger boobs have bigger nipples or something, and I was like, really?
And that was the very first one they opened with. It was
opener. And
okay.
So regardless of who made it, I was just I hate this.
I did kind of like how it played on stereotypes of them, assuming that Galko-chan was kind of a whore because of how she dresses and how she acts.
That's the one gag I liked was she comes in exhausted and everyone's like, oh, she was out all night with a guy, and then she just throws down this anime DVD box on her friend's desk and is like, here's the anime you lent me yesterday. And her friend's like, wait, you watched all 26 episodes? And Galko's like, yeah, I couldn't stop. And so I thought that was the only good thing is like they expected her to be one way and she was a different way.
Yeah, they did that again with like a panty gag. They're like, oh, girls who wear like white underwear are pure, and then girls who wear colored underwear are not. It's like, no, that's not how underwear works. Sorry, guys. But
you buy it 5 at a time because it's on sale. That's literally how underwear
I guess I'm just confused as to who the target audience is.
It's kind of like a weird
like,
thing.
is it supposed to be aimed at women? Like
it
hey,
feels
girls,
like a weird,
you know when this happens? Or is it aimed at guys? Like, this is what you think women
it's
go
just
through.
a weird, like, slice of life. It almost feels like a parody on just, like, how dumb high schoolers are, which is totally, I get that, but some of the jokes are just fall very flat and are like, whoa.
Yeah, it was like the
offensive.
crude nature of the jokes too. But yeah, I do like playing with, especially because like the larger chested female character is usually stereotyped a certain way, which like affected me really negatively when I was younger. So I do like seeing her being like, no, I was marathoning an anime, and that made me happy. But everything else, I was like, ugh, gross.
All right, so
Anyway,
so that's
the one you shouldn't watch. Don't watch it.
Yeah, it's
unless you really like toilet and crass humor, which is fine if you do, if that's your cup of tea. There's short little animes and they're not long.
Yeah, like I said, I did like certain parts of it, but most of it not.
All right.
Anyway,
moving on.
Schwarzesmarken. I can say it. Callie Plaga says this is a German-sounding anime in Germany. I watched the first like 10 minutes and I was so bored.
I watched all of it. I was just like,
I watched the first 2 episodes.
The aliens are creepy. So
aliens are creepy. I hate the design of those outfits. It feels like it was designed to make figures on. Like, here's your sexy figurine of these giant breasted.
I don't remember what the figures look like.
Soldiers. It was distracting, is what it was.
So basically, the premise is like it's about East and West Germany, and there's like these aliens that are attacking, and that's about all I gathered because I didn't care that much. But like, I know what you're talking about, Megan, because there's one. They're all in mechs, and there's this one female character who's in her mech, and it pans up her body, and she's wearing this like skin tight, like latex looking like Evangelion suit, and I was like, those are some boobs right there, which is fine, but I was kind of like, when is this gonna get interesting? They're just fighting aliens and mechs. Like, what's the interesting thing?
It also just felt kind of like a stale show. Like, it seemed like it's gonna be about like the team leader who was really interesting, and she's like commanding the group, and then it's mostly about this one guy who's like really insubordinate. And
there's
kind
a
of
little
brat.
more of her in the second episode. So I watched the first 2 episodes, and it was kind of interesting. They talked about she killed a family member to prove her loyalty, kind of thing. And
it's also kind of during the Cold War, I thought, or something.
It's
around
supposed to be
It's
an
Cold
alternate,
War.
like an alternate 1970s,
It's an
1980s
alternate history, like 80s Cold War thing.
Yeah, which doesn't seem to fit.
I thought Schwarzesmarken was going to be about 40s Germany, and I was so pumped because I love studying World War II. I love World War II era stuff. And then it wasn't World War II. That's probably why I stopped watching it.
It was going to be like Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was going to be. And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
I was also
and
like,
then,
is this Girls in Panzer? Like, what? I thought maybe it would go in that direction too.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like none of those things. So
it was,
I don't know. I might give it another shot, but from what you're saying, it sounds pretty
To be
stale
fair, it's
throughout.
also based on something called Total Eclipse. So it's a spin-off of that series, and I don't know that series, so I feel like maybe I'm missing something. I'm trying to be fair.
It didn't seem
for those
very
who saw it.
evident that it was based off of something else. I mean, at least the description I read just was like, oh, this thing is happening. And yeah.
I don't know. It was meh.
Yep, so another just kind of Just, I mean, maybe it'll get better.
Maybe. I'll give it one more. I'll give it the rule of 3. I'm trying to be fair. Give it the rule of 3.
Good for you, Megan.
I know. I'm
I'm not that
usually
fair.
I'm usually too lazy, but I'm like I'm trying so hard this season to like do the 3 rule.
So we have even more shorts this season.
Yeah.
Tabi Machi Late Show is interesting, but not my cup of tea.
Yes, I watched the first 2 episodes. They're about 7.5 minutes. The first episode was called Recipe, and it's there are different vignettes with different characters. I think there's supposed to be 4 episodes, and it's kind of this not stop motion animation, but it's
like stills, but with
stills
minor animation in between. Like it looks like when things do slow motion, you see like each frame.
It's a stylistic kind of interesting animation choice that I didn't care for because So my internet was being really weird, and all of the shows I was watching were skipping a lot, and so I'd have to like pause and wait for 5 minutes for it to like buffer. And so I thought this one was just buffering, but it wasn't.
No.
The top comment on Crunchyroll was like, "This is the best PowerPoint I've ever seen." But the second episode I liked way more because of the subject matter. It was about 2 adolescent girls in high school, and like they have one girl's kind of like a delinquent girl, and the other's the super upstanding, like always smiling. Like it seems very forced from this girl. She's just kind of like, we'll be friends. She's trying so hard to be like the ideal type of high school student, and this delinquent girl just calls her out on it. She's like, when are you gonna start? When are you gonna stop
honest.
Pretending? Like when are you gonna be honest and like be yourself? And it was really interesting. But it was just like 7.5 minutes of that weird animation that I didn't
the animation
care for.
it's really distracting just because it seems like something's wrong.
Yeah,
It feels like they had no budget, and even if it's a stylistic choice,
some of the shorts, because they are short, like they don't have as much of a budget, and that's fine. But
that's fine. But
like,
this is like
watching it, it's a little hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
so the vignettes are cool, but just like going with them, knowing that this is not going to be normal animation that's like fluid, it's just got a different style to it. That's a little.
It's only supposed to be 4 episodes, so I might just watch the other 2 just because. Just to see what the other vignettes are, but it was okay.
Yeah, it's all right. All right, next one.
Girls Beyond the Wasteland.
Girls Beyond the Wasteland. Am I the only one who watched this?
I think so.
I think so. Sorry.
Okay, so this one was on a Hulu, so maybe that's why. It's about I don't even know how to describe her. She's this kind of like weird high school girl, and she recruits this hardworking guy who wrote the script for some play at the school. Like he wrote this script, and it was like a yuri sort of thing, like just girl, not like dirty, but not like lewd, but it was 2 girls falling in love, and so she like scouts him out and recruits him to help her write a Bishoujo game, because she's really into Bishoujo stuff. And then they have to like get a group together, like they need a graphic designer and an artist. It reminded me a lot of Shimonetta in that it seemed like it was trying to make these like edgy, like cheeky characters, but like it didn't understand what that entails. So like the main girl she's like, I just love Yuri so much. And it's like, I believe that a girl like that exists, but okay. Like there was just like, it was done in a really weird way. One of the other girls is like a fujoshi, like a self-proclaimed fujoshi, which is like girls who like boy love. And then the artist is like the stereotypical really quiet but wants to draw hentai artist. And I was just kind of like, okay, I get what you're going for, but it's not
you
super
just weren't
for
buying
me. It just felt like this is how we think quirky high school students would be like, but I don't know, not that anime has to be believable, but it just felt weird to me. Like, yeah, we're gonna make a Bishoujo game together.
Do you feel like it was making fun of people
weird.
who, like, unintentionally making fun of people who like that stuff, like trying to be like, isn't this cute and funny, but really being unintentionally condescending?
I don't think it was supposed to be condescending, because I feel like that would alienate the audience, right? But one of the things that made me sort of nervous is this main kid, the writer, is not an otaku at all. He's not interested in that. She just kind of like ropes him into it. He's like a really hardworking student. The whole premise is he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, and so he just works really hard at a diner. And in the second episode, he like doesn't come into work because he has to work on the Bishoujo game. And I was really nervous, like, is this going towards like otaku culture is making you inefficient, or is this going towards, he's gonna find his true passion in life? So it could go either way, and I was just like, I don't really want to get emotionally invested and find out. I don't know. It was okay. I mean, like, you could try it out if it sounds interesting to you, like a bunch of high school students making a Bishoujo game, but I probably won't continue it.
Me.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of Sae Kano, How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend, and where they were trying to make a dating sim, and then you kind of had a lot of those stereotypes, but they worked a lot better. Like they just were more interesting characters. So,
yeah, it was okay.
It's been done before.
yeah. Just it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't that interesting. And I have more important things, like things that not more important things to watch, but there's things I'd rather be watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. Next one.
Next one is Konosuba. Am I the only one who watched this one too?
I think
Yeah.
so. We've reached
No,
a
this is
point
good
where
though.
it's
You can represent that part of the audience who watched it.
I watched trash for your sins. Just kidding. No, I did. I'm just kidding. I watched a lot of different things because I was like, oh, I might as well like try to branch out and cover as much ground as possible. But Konosuba was like the worst version of Grimgar, which is the fantasy like RPG one. Konosuba was about a super otaku who dies in the like first minute of the first episode, and then
I did watch this.
oh, you did watch this, and then
Okay,
is
that sounds right.
transported to a game world, and it's so heavy-handed. Like, this is a game, and there is a booty shot like every 5 seconds, and I'm like, okay,
If you like booty shots, this might be the anime for you.
butts. Yeah, Tina
Directed by
Belcher's
Tina Belcher.
favorite anime.
Part 2.
There's no boy butts though, so
Aw.
yeah, it was just one girl butt, and I was like, okay. I thought there were cool ideas here, but it seemed like along the same vein of, you know, fantasy RPG sort of thing, and I think having seen both this and Grimgar does it a lot better. Konosuba was just kind of like, you know, we're doing character creation now.
Yeah.
You're average. And I was like, okay, sorry. So, yeah, I didn't care for it that much. I hated the main character. That's usually the thing that bothers me the most is, like, this main character is just kind of a jerk, and, like, he's so arrogant. And
Is that why he died?
yeah, he,
Well,
like,
he actually died trying to do something nice.
no, but so he dies because there's a girl crossing the street, and he pushes her out of the way of an oncoming vehicle.
Oh.
After he goes to whatever afterlife thing he's in and is talking to this goddess, she's like, yeah, that was a tractor and it was gonna stop for her. You died of shock thinking you got hit by a truck and you peed your pants and everybody's laughing at you. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really weird. But he tried to be nice. He just was a complete idiot
I
about
don't
it.
like him. I don't like him.
All right.
So-
I don't know. I didn't like the goddess. She just annoyed me so much.
Yeah, that's probably the weakest point of this show is none of the characters are likable. I didn't like any of them.
It's good. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's that.
interesting.
All right.
Yeah, fantasy.
Is this another one that?
This is all you, Callie.
I guess I added all my shows at the same time. The next one on our list is Undefeated Bahamut Chronicle, which I decided to watch because it was Lurke, which is the studio that did like School Live. They did Assassination Classroom.
Yeah.
Persona the animation, Danganronpa the animation. So I was like, I'll give this one a shot. Not that they like write all the stories originally, but I was like, I might as well try it. It is about a former prince who, in the first opening of the first couple minutes of the show, accidentally, I don't know how you accidentally do this, but he accidentally stumbles into the girl's like onsen and sees like the princess of this area just straight up naked, and he's like over her, like freaking out because he's just like toppled on top of her. He doesn't do a gratuitous boob grab, so that was good. He's on top of her, like freaking out, like, oh my god, what am I doing? So he's like, oh, I know, the thing that you do when you've upset a girl is compliment her. So he's like, hey, you have a really nice body and you're cute and whatever. And she's just like, what? Get out of here.
Punch him.
She gets really mad and challenges him to a duel.
Yeah.
All right.
Which happens, they're in mechs, they do a mech duel.
Yeah.
And she's like a dragon princess.
Cool.
And it's I thought it was going to be a cool like fantasy thing, but it's just they're at an academy for like mech people.
Oh man.
I know. I was like, another school show.
Yeah.
So
Get out of school, kids. Come on. No.
I know,
time
like
to graduate already.
graduate. No, I didn't care for it. I got really bored and I was like, I should drop this, but I was like 20 minutes in and I was like, nah, I'll just finish it. I'm already here. So yeah, I wasn't a fan. The whole thing is like he's undefeated, but he's never attacked anyone, and I'm like, whatever. So
Is this the anime where he comes to the balcony, where he's Okay, never mind. It's
Nope.
a different anime. Okay, it
There's
just
al-
sounds so familiar to another anime from last season that
Oh.
I was like, I saw this
No.
one, didn't I? And I was
There's-
like, nope, it just covers the same.
There's also a weird scene.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
I remember the title, but I don't remember what you're talking
But
about.
no, there's one scene where I guess when in the onsen, when he sees her naked, she has like this tattoo, like right under her belly button, so in that sort of region. And she freaks out, and like after their duel, she like goes up to him and she's like, "You saw my tattoo," and like lifts up her dress to show the It's like, okay, if you've seen my tattoo, because the whole thing is she wants him to not tell anybody about her tattoo because it's like a secret thing, and I'm like, okay, well, if I have a tattoo right above that region, I'm not going to lift up my dress and show it to I'll just be like, hey, I know you saw this tattoo. Maybe don't tell people. I'm not going to show them again. It was very gratuitous. So that's that. I didn't like it. I'm not going to watch another episode.
All right, moving on.
All right. That
Anyway.
got disappointing fast.
Yep.
Okay. So, did anyone else watch Divine Gate?
I did not.
Okay.
Not
so-
yet.
All right, so basically it's about like a literal divine gate where our world and worlds beyond that become connected.
So somewhat like Gate.
Yeah,
like
gate.
So it,
Like that other one that's airing its second season.
yeah, it's funny because there's Gate and then there's Divine
There's
Gate.
this
so they are
Divine Gate.
different.
Just
So
like
the
the
World
evolution.
Council was formed, and
Oh, they've moved past the conflict part. I
yeah,
see.
if this turns into a harem anime, it's not going to. It's kind of interesting because there's a few people who inherit these elemental powers. So the one character, Alto, who killed his parents for some reason we don't know yet, but he has like water power, and then Nakane has like fire power, and they are somehow connected to the Divine Gate, and the World Council is trying to recruit Alto for their purposes, and he's kind of a lone wolf wandering around using his powers without any guidance.
Of course he is.
Of course he is. And
What
so
a rebel.
I'm still not sure what the heck it's really about. Like, I kind of did what you did, Miranda, where I started to work while I was watching this one episode because it couldn't keep my attention. But the one interesting thing is all the kids in this show have some sort of tragic past. Either they were abandoned, their parents were killed, they killed their parents. So it's this weird, bizarre group of traumatic kids with these elemental powers going around trying to fix crimes and solve issues and something open up or
Does he-
rediscover the Divine Gate. I don't know.
Does he brood a lot? It's like really angsty.
Oh my god,
I feel like he's so angsty. Like he's
like-
like, I heard you killed your parents.
Oh my god, he's Prince Zuko.
I don't. He's
Water Prince Zuko.
Oh no, he like talks about third person. You know, the boy on this rainy day was sad because of this, and he has this little creepy kid with red eyes following him around. And I
That's
don't
his
know.
demon
Somebody out there
friend.
can like
Let's
somebody
make a
out there
fan
can-
fiction about this right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
How
if
is
he's-
this how is this linked
Kylo
to Gate?
Ren,
Emo
the
Kylo
anime
Ren.
character.
that and a BB-8 anime. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Like emo Kylo Ren and BB-8
Yeah, so-
together.
So
around the
I guess
universe.
our rating scale is: would you rather be watching this or a BB-8 anime?
Yeah, BB-8 anime for sure.
BB-8.
I don't know.
BB-8's so cute.
BB-8's really
They do.
cute.
It's so emotive and great. I saw stories
love
3 times.
Droids. I love that.
And the fact that
Hey,
it's
what about
real.
Genos,
That's so
guys?
great.
Let's just
Anyway,
talk about
that's not an
Genos.
anime.
That's not an anime. Anyways, I'm sorry my description of the show is so garbage. I just,
It just
couldn't
seems-
pay attention
Well,
enough to care.
That's telling though. Like if you can't pay attention to the show,
Like usually I have enough. Yeah, I can lend enough attention to a show and like be interested. But some of them has just been so
it's been hard.
like cliche. It's like we've seen this story 20 times and you're not adding anything. Like I've seen this character in 50 different shows before. Like please.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Erased again.
Yeah, I literally like
More race,
I was
please.
telling my roommate like, oh, I gotta watch some anime like over the weekend, and I pull up like Crunchyroll on my Xbox or whatever, and I'm like trying to pick what to watch, and I'm reading the descriptions. I'm like, I don't want to watch anything. I don't know, and I was like, oh, I know. I'll show her Erased. I was like so prepared to just
Nice.
rewatch Erased. I
So-
didn't, but because I was like, nah, I gotta prioritize this. But I really liked Erased.
I feel like if you have to choose between a Gate, it sounds like Gate is the one to go.
Yeah,
to.
I'd actually go with Gate.
versus Divine Gate.
Yeah,
Sounds like
I don't know. I'll give
Sounds
Divine
like Gate.
Gate. I'll pay attention
I-
next time I watch it. But
I still
I'm
haven't
like,
watched.
ah.
I still haven't watched Gate, but I do like that one character girl.
I want to
the
get back
one
to
girl.
it.
Yeah. I like her design, so I might watch it just because
I thought it was
I like
fun.
her.
Yeah,
It has potential. I'm not big into harem.
I've heard
anime, so-
it's second. The new season's really good. So
All right,
Cool.
So yeah, That's
Right.
your mini Gate second season
yeah,
preview.
Go watch.
Go watch
Gate instead.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
watch Gate.
tell us which Gate you would rather watch.
What other gates do you guys know?
Yeah, go to our Facebook page.
Never mind.
and
Don't tell
join
me.
our group.
Yeah.
Anyway, another one that's forgettable, another anime forgettable this season. I feel bad because a lot of these shows have just been so mediocre.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I
know.
don't. There's a lot this season, but it's just a lot of.
There's only
Fluff.
like 4 or 5 shows I'm going to continue watching, and one of them is probably not Active Raid, which is okay.
No.
It's not horrible. It's
So-
about this inspector who's told to go spy on a unit of power armored police called the 8th, who get into all sorts of crazy trouble around Tokyo trying to stop criminals with their exoskeletons called Willware. And I always want to call it WeWare because it just sounds like that's what it should be.
WarioWare.
WarioWare.
Let's make this more
CG is
interesting.
okay.
It sounds like the plot of a
characters
Call of
are
Duty
okay.
game so far.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's okay. I mean, it's an interesting look at the bureaucratic process of trying to get anything done in the police department in
You
Tokyo.
could go to the
but-
DMV and get that.
There's an anime. DMV, the anime.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
This is the only show I think I just stopped watching halfway through, and I was like, I guess I'll come back to it later.
Yeah, the pacing
not.
and story are just not that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't know why Asami keeps busting out random English. At first it was funny, then it just gets annoying.
I
It's
am
like, stop.
that scientist.
I see. That's
am
cool.
so cool.
I am so cool.
Steins Gate, everyone.
Yeah,
Gate.
Steins Gate.
So,
Another gate.
another
That's
gate.
right. Of all the gates
Okay,
we talked about.
Steins Gate's the best gate, honestly.
Yeah, it's the best gate ever.
The best gate. But
Top 10
Yeah, so
gate
just-
anime.
top 10 gate anime. Oh my god.
We
Get ready
that.
to see that. Anyway.
See it on IGN.com.
Oh my god.
That's the website.
Anyway, I don't think it's so. It is kind of disappointing to see because most of these shows we weren't super fond of. But I think it's also a good thing because we can devote more time to the super top quality shows that we've talked about on the last episode. Which, if you haven't watched, that's episode 37. You should watch the first winter anime roundup as well. Yeah, I like being able to focus on like 4 or 5 shows and like really kind of devote more time to them.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a few we've missed that we'll hit over the next few weeks, but they won't
Yeah.
obviously have a place here. There's some other ones that's just like, no, just don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
But there are some that we missed, and if there is something we did substantially miss, be sure we didn't talk about last episode. But if there's something we need to be watching, let us know.
Yeah.
We
If
always
you saw
appreciate
something
that.
amazing that like we didn't click on because the description wasn't interesting, but like you
Or we
really
just didn't
liked
have
it,
time. Yeah.
let us know. You can join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club. It's the official group. We are in there all the time checking out stuff, so you can tag us in there if you have any ideas or suggestions. Where else can they find us? Hashtag IGNanime on Twitter, IGNIME. You can tweet at us there. We
And
check
you-
that.
Yeah, you can also email us at IGN_animeclub@IGN.com.
Yes.
Yes, and show your pride for Anime Club by wearing our Anime Club T-shirt.
Megan's always the shirt purveyor. Don't forget about the shirt.
I ordered my black Anime Club T-shirt, and it should be here any day, so I'm really excited to wear it. And
Yeah.
you can get that at
go.ign.com/store, and I know that because I made the link.
Yeah,
I
so
do that.
cool.
It's part of my job.
So I actually have a hard stop, but before we go on to the watch party, I do want to say that finally Gurren Lagann is getting interesting.
Yay, I'm glad you liked
It's
it.
finally starting to come together. I'm not saying that I love it, but it definitely has my
I-
attention.
I was wondering how you felt after this because this is a big change.
It's a
for
huge shift in the dynamic, and although I think it could have been tightened up and didn't need to get to 15 episodes or 16 episodes to get here, I'm glad we have. Now it's starting to make sense. Interested to see where it's going. On that note, I'm going to take my adorable Umaru-chan and
Sudafin.
blue-haired
Sephiroth.
Yes,
That's what we
Sephiroth.
call her because her
Yeah.
name's hard to pronounce.
I gotta go film something which will be on IGN.com later. So
Have fun, Megan.
yay anime!
Yay!
Oh, you can find me on Megan MEGHAN_IGN on Twitter. Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye. Okay, and back to the watch party. If you guys don't know what that is, every week we watch 2 episodes of an anime you guys chose, and discuss it. And we read your comments. Listener comments. You guys could also read this because we have an article going up on IGN every week when we post an episode. Yeah. So
Yeah, so our watch party currently is Gurren Lagann. We're on episodes 17 to 18, really getting up there.
yeah, important episodes.
Yeah. So for like a month, my boyfriend has been like, tell me when you get to the big change of Gurren Lagann. And he said like, oh, I think it's like episode 14 or 15. So I got to 14, 15. I was like, did the change happen? I didn't know. And then I was watching this a couple days ago, and as the theme song comes up, I notice it's different right away, and I was like, wait, what? And I like pulled out my phone. I was like, oh my god, is this a
It's
time
happening!
skip? Ah!
So
yeah,
we'll let Leonardo Espinosa lead us off. So episode 17 and 18 came as a shock when I first found out there was a 7-year time skip. Whoa. It's a lot of time.
7 years.
Seeing how far humanity had advanced was amazing, and seeing Kamina being honored in an over-the-top fashion with a statue and city was a nice touch. Yeah, it's like Kamina City.
It's
like just
totally Kamina.
It's great, though.
Husbando City.
Having most of Team Daigren stick with political desk jobs is hilarious, especially since Roshu, Kinon, and Liron seem to be the only ones ideal for it. We finally get the wool pulled from under from humanity's eyes, thanks to Nia, cutest harbinger of doom. Yep. That the moon will destroy the Earth in 3 weeks are the anti-spirals fans of Majora's Mask. All I know is that we're going to need a bigger drill. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple notes. Number one, they might be big Zelda fans because 7 years is also the Ocarina of Time skip.
Whoa!
And the moon's falling down. Majora's Mask. I have no idea if they even
Realized.
Zelda is like pretty popular, so it's entirely likely that they would. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot of Zelda parallels. But I really liked that they're all like doing high level politics because I think that's, while I appreciate what the show was doing before, I think it adds another dimension of interest. So I'm like, wow, this is a lot going on.
It definitely got more mature.
You're right. Roshi is kind of like, he has this own secret thing going on with like the biocomputer. And yeah, so I really liked that. I liked that shift from, we're just going to fight Lord Genome and that's going to be the end of it, to, okay, what are we doing to rebuild? We've gotten 7 years later, we've advanced in technology so much, we've rebuilt like human society on the surface, and now what's next?
I like how it feels very uncomfortable in a way. Like all Team Daigren is just like, we're not meant to be politicians.
Yeah.
So much so that how did I just forget her name? She's got the sniper.
Yoko?
Yeah, Yoko. I was like, how did I just blank on her name? Yeah, so like so much so that Yoko just like left. She's like, I'm not a politician. See ya, fools.
I was wondering when the episode started, I was like, where's Yoko? Like Yoko is a huge thing, but then they do this kind of flashback where Yoko's like, peace. Like, I'm not gonna do that. What was I gonna say? I liked your point about it being uncomfortable because, up until this point, Gurren Lagann has been about like, camaraderie, we're all together, like Team Daigren, like banding together and learning to work together. And then 7 years later, we see
it's just not that anymore.
Broken down a lot. And that was actually kind of upsetting. Like, I was getting kind of upset, like, I want them all to be friends and to be happy. And then like
Simon is just so alone. Like, keep noting on like how he's depressed, and he's just, he has Nia, and of course he has all of his advisors, but they're all treating him so differently. Like, well, you're the supreme commander now, so you can't do all these things. Like, but I just want to help. Like, no, man.
Yeah, Roshi is like, no, you can't get into a gunman because like that's not your job anymore. And later in episode 18, Simon's like, no, protecting the city is my number one job. I'm gonna get into Gurren Lagann and do this, protect from like the anti-spiral moon mechs with no faces.
Yeah.
I also just really side note, I thought it was really cute the way Nia did not understand Simon's proposal.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I want to be one and the same. And she's like, what? No, we're two different people.
That doesn't work.
No, what are you talking about? And then she goes to the Black siblings girls, and they're like, you're stupid. That was a metaphor.
Yeah. She's so silly.
Yeah. And then I was all sad because I was like, none of the relationships work in this show. Yoko couldn't have Kamina, and Simon can't have Nia. I was so upset.
You die or you get possessed.
Yes. So she's possessed by the anti-spirals, which is explained.
It's more so that it's like, they explain it as that it's her true self, like her DNA.
She's like the harbinger of their. She's like a messenger. She's basically, she's awakened. Wow.
Awakened.
She has been awoken is what I was going for. because they've hit the 1,000,000th person, which is what Lord Genome had warned them about. Like, once you hit 1,000,000 apes on the surface, like, the moon's gonna come and that's gonna be a real bad time. So the 1,000,000th baby is born, and that kind of sets off a switch in Nia. Apparently, that's how it's explained. And then so it's like spiral power. Like, humans have the spiral power, and it's reached dangerous levels. So the anti-spirals are like gonna,
I think that's
shut it down.
Really interesting though, because like what the spiral power is essentially, it's not just this little drill that Simon has. It's like genetics. It's that your will to advance and continue to advance, and then the anti-spirals, who obviously I guess don't have spiral DNA, are threatened by that because they are not. I don't think they're lesser beings, but they just don't advance the same way, and so I guess you could see that as a big threat. It's like, well, these guys will wipe out the galaxy, but then the anti-spirals, of course, came in and stopped that before it happened. Yeah, and
so the whole explanation is Lord Genome, and again, like Kevin S. from the Facebook group. What's up, Kevin S?
Hey.
Has pointed out the whole like DNA kind of motif going on with genome, and then all the 4 generals having like guanine, cytosine, whatever.
Yeah.
So Lord Genome, it's explained, was like this great warrior kind of fighting the anti-spirals, and then when he discovered what would happen to humanity, he forced them underground because it was the surface levels of spirals that, like, spirals on the surface. So as long as humanity's underground and the population's controlled, like, it's going to be okay. And so the whole thing is like, well, Team Daigerin kind of screwed that up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, haha.
Like a drill.
Whoa. But it makes sense because he explained, like, you guys had to be under the impression of fear, or else you would have gotten out of control. Like, you can't just be explained that, oh, well, if you guys reach a million people, then these things will happen because you won't care, because you'll try to find a way around it.
Yeah. And so this is the most interesting thing about these 2 episodes for me is, this is kind of a Machiavellian sort of setup. Like, is it better to be feared or loved sort of thing? Rosyu definitely represents the fear. Like, he's more about, we can't always tell the populace what's going on. We just need to do it for their good. And Simon is much more about freedom and kind of
understanding and being transparent, and he just wants to help his fellow citizens.
Right, and so that's the most interesting thing to me about this shift from like from before the time skip to now, is we get to see kind of like leadership styles being called into question, and a direct comparison of 2 leadership styles and which one works and which doesn't. And Simon reminded me a lot of One Punch Man. What's his actual name? Saitama. Because he's like trying to protect the city, and they're all mad at him. They're like, could you do any more damage?
It's like, get out of here. I just saved so many lives. The thing was to destroy everything. You're complaining about, doing damage. It's like, sorry, there's a massive mech in the city. What do you want me to do?
Just let it kill you? Like, so I just noticed that obviously One Punch Man came out after this, but I noticed that parallel. So yeah, there's just so much going on here with all of that I found really, really great.
Yeah, and it's also kind of sad to see Simon more as a puppet in a way, because you can see that Rossi is like manipulating him. He's like, here's all these boring complaints, just do this and be distracted, and while I do the other things that I'm not going to tell you about.
Revive Lord Genome because I'm a jerk.
I understand what he was trying to do. Like, he was
a lot of words.
I think it's a really important thing about like his origins too. Like, he came from a tribe that would kill, like, essentially just send out people once they reach a certain limit of population.
That's the other interesting.
They'll let them die.
The other interesting parallel is like, they have this new population cap, the 1 million population cap, and Rostyu comes from a place with a population cap where they just had to kill people. And Simone points that out to him, like, what are you going to do? Just kill the 1,000,000th person like you did back in your village? And it was kind of this
It's
really
tense kind of thing.
Tense moment.
And then, so that's why I kind of understand why he's trying to revive Lord Genome and trying to find the answer.
Yeah.
Like, he just wanted to find it as soon as possible. Like, what is going to happen so we can be prepared. Yeah. That way you don't have to kill your millionth person.
Right. I just, because Megan said this before she left about she wishes it had been tighter, but she understands where the first 15 episodes plus not including the compilation episode, are leading to. I agree with her. Like, I appreciated the first arc of Gurren Lagann, but it could have been tighter, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We did have 2, the little recap episodes, so that's keeping that in mind.
True. And I do think, like, the first shift in Gurren Lagann is Kamina's death. Yeah. And then this is the second, like, real shift. So I do think they paced that intentionally. So it does feel very intentional. It's a little bit of a slow burn. I appreciate the first 15 episodes more now, having seen these 2, than I did when I was watching them. And so that's the kind of, my friend actually was texting me about this. He was like, our mutual friend kept telling him, watch Gurren Lagann. And he was like, yeah, I watched, the first like 10 episodes or something, and it's just not really grabbing me. I think I got to start over. And now my recommendation to him is like, this is one of those shows that is highly recommendable. Once you've finished it, you just got to reach that point, and it does take a while.
It's a lot to ask for, especially if you're not enjoying it previously. But I'm glad it finally got to a part where it does shift. And I kind of expected that was going to happen because a lot of the team that worked on this also worked on Kill la Kill, which is my favorite anime, and also Kevin S's, or one of Kevin S's favorite anime. And if you don't know who Kevin S is, he always does like a little lesson on
Anime Club famous.
Yeah, the Gurren Lagann episodes. So he does like this really cool analysis, and he also provides like, here's like a fun fact about the episodes. But yeah, he said this is kind of where parallels to Kill la Kill start. And I see why. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah.
We're both like,
so
yeah,
excited.
Kill la Kill. I love Kill la Kill so much.
Yeah, the only 2 things I brought, or I guess 2 of the things I brought with me today for the table.
I'm really bad at picking favorites, but it's definitely my top 5.
Is my number 1. Like,
yeah, I'm so bad at picking number 1s.
I'm bad at that, but then I was just like, nope, Kill la Kill's it.
It's so good. So I'm excited, having watched Kill la Kill. I'll probably end up finishing Gurren Lagann for part of the watch party and then rewatching Kill la Kill with a new lens. I've been wanting to rewatch Kill la Kill since I first watched it, just to kind of go into it and maybe critique it more. Not critique it, like be critical of it, but just like
pick out like the different themes.
See, motifs and hints, and there's so much. So I might go back to Kill la Kill after this.
Well, I did get all the Blu-rays for Christmas from my boyfriend, so we could watch them.
Dang.
Yeah.
Our boyfriends are good at giving presents.
They're really great.
I'm so bad at presents.
Anyway. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are. Next week we will be watching 19 and 20. We're getting close to the end. Oh, actually, no. We will not be watching that next week. Next week we're actually skipping the watch party. Sorry, friends. Because we're going to have Bandai back on to talk a little bit more about Sword Art Online and some of their upcoming releases. Also, the best anime of 2015. Finally.
Finally, we've had more time. We really wanted to be careful with this feature and like do the proper amount of research. So we're getting that to you guys, and we have a lot of planning meetings. We're really excited about anime coverage going into 2016.
We have so many plans.
There's so much going on. And we're also going to have our new Toys and Culture editor, Alana, on to show off some super cool things that aren't secrets, but I won't tell you what they are yet.
Yeah, she's just going to hop in and show us some cool stuff.
Yeah, so you get to meet Alana if you haven't seen her on the site already. That's
so,
about it.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Yes.
No, it was kind of long. About an hour. It's not too long. Yeah. But yeah, so you guys can follow me on Twitter. That's at HavocRose and Havoc with a K.
I am at Inkydojiko, INKYDOJIKKO.
And this has been IGN Anime Club episode 38. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.